and stuff, and they have turned out to be tremendously strong mud racing tires for these exceptionally heavy vehicles. However, with no tire restrictions, they can run a tire as big as they need to be, and as you can see, they make monsters out of these mud trucks.
It's one of the few pieces of equipment a driver can invest in that will probably last the lifetime of the car. These tires have been known to last most drivers 3 to 5 years.
No question that they will stay up all year long without any trouble. This is Don Hetrick from Nacogdoches, Texas, who has campaigned all across the U.S. of the U.S. Off-Road Association Trail, the machine he calls rambunctious. Now, of all things, this is no Chevy or Ford. This is a 1976 Dodge Ram truck with a 500 cubic inch Keith Black Racing Engines Chrysler Hemi engine. The machine using a 727 Chrysler automatic transmission, better known as a torque plate. And like I said, it is no lightweight. These machines are a lot heavier than anything we've seen. 4,900 pounds on this short bed Dodge. And all through the shutdown area. Saw a lot of sparks coming out of the rear end of the finish line. But the narrow chops and section Dodge makes easily one of the strongest efforts you could ever ask for one of these category of machines. Remember, the super modified class that we saw before skims over the mud. These guys, because of the incredible weight of these vehicles, fall automatically to the bottom of the pit and have to drive through the mud, not across the top, but through it. Watch as the tires go almost straight down almost immediately, at least the rear tires in this case. And now he has to do his driving across this pit. Don Hetrick goes through at 2.61 seconds. Look at the bounce at the finish line. The machine coming completely out of the mud. But that elapsed time, Shelley, is one of the best we've ever seen for this category.
And it's good enough to put him into first place.
Tremendous run, 2.61 seconds. Well, I'll tell you, one thing about the tractor tire category, you see machines that are truly unlimited in every sense of the word. And here is a classic example. From Leskin, Texas, this is Craig Knight, a brand new entry in the U.S. Off-Road Association Trail. How about a Chevy Monza station wagon, Monza Town Coupe wagon? Craig Knight behind the wheel, his first ever U.S. Off-Road Association event appearance. Leaves the starting line, 8,000 pounds going through the mud, and a good ride considering the weight of the machine and not the best possible starting line launch. And Craig Knight may indeed be able to slide into the 3-second zone with that particular effort, and that would keep him competitive with the leader, Shelley.
Well, and if he's new at this, I think he did a darn good job.
It's one of the first times this machine has ever been in a mud pit, brand new for this season. A wild piece of equipment, though. Here's the slow motion replay. You can see it moving around a little bit on the starting line. Look, you can look right up through the body and see Craig Knight working away at the steering wheel and the throttle and the automatic transmission. Makes it through at 3.28 seconds. 3.28 seconds. That's an excellent attempt. In fact, it's good enough for the number 2 spot, Shelley.
Way to go, Craig.
On the starting line, an awesome piece of equipment, a 1976 Chevy Love truck. By Greg Anthony. An excellent run. The tractor tire machines are flying here at the Astrodome. On the slow motion replay, look at this thing. 5,500 pounds airborne at the finish line and coming down hard in those ruts. And here it is, the other half of the Nacogdoches, Texas Anthony family racing team. This is Mike Anthony. The machine called Outlaw 1. Believe it or not, a 30-year-old logger during the week. During the weekends, he runs this 5,000-pound 69 Chevy Fleet side.
He must be a damn good logger, because I haven't seen a single tree here in Houston.
The Outlaw number 1 sits patiently on the starting line. The mark to beat is Mike's brother Greg at 2.57 seconds, and this comes down to sibling rivalry.
Well, I think that if anybody were to beat Greg's record, he'd want it to be his brother Mike.
I'll tell you, 2.57 seconds is within 1/1500ths of a second of the quickest run on a 100-foot-long pit we've ever seen in the unlimited category. An amazing piece of equipment. Here's brother Mike trying to outdo Greg sideways and up on 2 wheels, and he actually had to back out of the throttle to keep all 4 wheels on the ground, and that will probably keep Mike from grabbing the number 1 spot from his brother Greg in Outlaw number 1.
He had some serious ruts to try to get himself out of.
One thing's for sure, because these machines sink immediately to the bottom of the pit, 36 inches down, they will make ruts like you've never seen before. Well, Mac Anthony at 3.11 seconds is only 0.03 of a second behind his brother and only 0.11 of a second behind the leader Dan Hetrick. the Houston Astrodome in Texas for the championship demolition derby finale. This is Bret Kepner along with Shelley Herman. And Shelley, we've got some of the finest drivers in the country in this final round. 26 cars. Chryslers, GM cars, Buick, Chevrolets, Pontiacs, Fords, Mercurys, Lincoln Continentals, even Cadillacs in this battle.
And they're all beautiful cars.
They are. These are some of the best-looking cars we've ever seen. Look at number 75 shooting across at 30 miles an hour for the first hit. And this is going to be a traffic jam and a half with 26 different vehicles going at it. Like I said, Fords, Chevrolets, Pontiacs, Buicks, few Chrysler products of all things, including early 1970s Dodge Dart of all things are out there. And even a Cadillac or two. There's the classic demo car of choice by most of the nation's campaigners. The mid-1970s model GM or Ford station wagon. 4,400-pound machines were built incredibly strong. And you know, Shelley, it's still kind of interesting to point out that back in the mid-1960s, the Demo Derby Sanctioning Associations made a few rules that still hold true today. And one of those is the fact that you are not allowed to use a mid-1960s year Chrysler Imperial in demo derbies. Reason for that is that they were one of the strongest cars ever made, and they proved in demo derbies around the country to be literally indestructible.
What year was that again?
Any of the early, say 1960 through 1966 Chrysler Imperials, which, by the way, quite a few of them came with Chrysler Hemi engines, so they had a lot of power, as well as one of the strongest frames ever built in Detroit. And those cars are still, to this day, illegal for demo derby racing. Right now, however, it's just a matter of finding out who or which driver and which car will end up showing form that will keep them on the top as we weed out the field. Right now, it is simply a matter of knocking off as many cars as one driver possibly can. And we talked earlier about the ganging up technique at the beginning of a demolition derby that usually puts out at least half the field.
Well, I would think that, I mean, if it was my strategy, I would think you'd want to lay low right now. It seems like everybody's just looking for a piece of something right now.
Well, if you look down there on the field, you will see that there are quite a few machines hanging out around the outer edges of the circle playing field, as it were. And many of them are indeed waiting for just that, a clear hit that they know that they could put somebody else out. They're not going to waste the equipment unless they have to at this point. There's about the cleanest machine out there, the number 30 Chevrolet wagon called the Bandit of Pete Sagmiller has so far really taken not one hit to the front end. He and Danny Silence right behind him in the number 79 machine have both done a tremendous job. Boy, there's the ultimate squeeze play with the number 51 Chevrolet of Emmett Alford being in the middle of the sandwich there. Professional demolition derby drivers. These are not amateurs. These are the best of the business. And we've got a car on fire big time, and that will cause a red flag situation. And it was the number 7 entry of Frelinghausen that we were just watching with an engine fire. That was oil smoke coming up from underneath the hood, the oil finally igniting on the exhaust manifolds with the safety crews right there immediately. Now that's there, Russ Richards trying to do it. Oh, tremendous fire! Tremendous fire! Can't identify the car. It was that big of a fireball. Still 8 or 9 cars moving. There you see the number 62 machine of Paul Durrett still doing well. Look at that, a virtually spotless front end on that particular machine. And we've got another engine fire, or at least a little bit of a fire coming out of the pipes of the pink number 77 of Dwayne Blaylock. And we've got a car going over. Unbelievable. We've got a car on its side. Danny Silence is the man who put it on its side, but we can't identify the car. Look at the radiator bursting. Silence makes one last hit. A lot of steam out of the engine compartment of Billy Umford's number 17. Silence may be lining up for the very last hit. That's it. It's over. And Danny Silence wins this incredible marathon.
ESPN, the Total Sports Network.
Another USHRA Association Championship event has come to a close, but Shelley, we saw a lot of activities here tonight that we haven't seen before at these events.
No, and it's the first time I've seen Demolition Derby in person. I mean, you got to be here to experience it. It's really fun.
That's true, and you get a tremendous idea of what professional demo derby drivers can do as opposed to the amateurs.
In other words, you're warning us that we shouldn't try that at home?
Or on the streets around your home, for that matter. And in the mud racing competition, certainly a tremendous comeback effort from Clay Langley, the winningest driver in the history of the USHRA Association, who may have his old touch back.
Well, but he's got a little bit of competition from the mud, Shark. Good second-place finish.
But if you thought this was wild, you won't believe some of the events coming up on the U.S. Harbor Association National Event Trail. We'll be there to cover them with a lot of surprises that'll make this look tame.
This will look tame? Ooh, I can't wait.
I guarantee it. Hopefully you'll be with us. Until then, this is Bret Kepner and Shelley Herman saying thanks for being with us, and we'll see you again the next U.S. Harbor Association Championship Motorsports event.